Hi, I'm Stas with Rebuild the United States. You can find us at RBTUS.com. I am talking with Nick Conaway, who is my co-host on this program, and we're going to be talking about American shipbuilding today. Good morning, Nick.
Good morning, Stas. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Okay, Nick. So today we're going to be talking about shipbuilding. President Trump has made shipbuilding a major priority for the United States. There are some interesting things going on. Uh, we haven't built ships in a long time, Nick.
Yes, we have. So let's get right into it. I want to ask you, so what kind of economic impact would if when, President Trump pushing for this and the government pushing for this, what kind of economic impact would it have on the United States, jobs, money coming in? What's your thought on that?
So shipbuilding, unlike the service industry, has what we call a big multiplier effect. And what that means is that for every one shipbuilding job, you get a lot of support jobs. And if you think about it, it starts to make sense. You build a ship and the ship needs to be painted. You build a ship, it needs steel, it needs an engine, it needs a propeller. And then once it's in service, it transports goods from one point to another point, and those create additional jobs in the maritime industry. So the shipbuilding industry is a very good industry for the multiplier effect. And people who work in shipyards generally are making pretty good money. They could be making $35 an hour as a welder or a fitter. Some people are crane operators. There's work in electrical, there's work in crane operations. Then there's also specialty areas like design, engineering, drawings, and things like that. So there used to be about a multiplier of about 1 to 2.5. So for every one job created in shipbuilding, you created another 2.5. To give you a comparison, if you're working in a store, one retail job would create maybe another job.
Okay, very interesting. So another thought that I've had is from the research that I've done, from the things that I've seen, China owns a majority of the ships. I I want to ask you what what does the United States have in relation to the amount of ships in China and the ships that China owns, and what kind of impact would this have if we do go through with this and build as many ships as the U.S. government's talking about? What kind of impact would that have on the U.S. and the shipping industry as a whole?
So the simple answer is we're so far behind, it's going to take years for us to catch up. And the simple answer with that was we didn't think shipbuilding was important for a long time, and we allowed ships to be built elsewhere. President Trump is absolutely correct that we do need to make shipbuilding a top priority, and he has begun to do that. As you pointed out, China has over 50% of the world market. And they have criticized this initiative by President Trump because they say you're not going to be able to wave a magic wand and make it happen. You have to have a lot of the infrastructure in place. And the infrastructure is things like the kinds of things I mentioned. But one obvious thing is ship engines. Ship engines are really big. They have horsepowers of 20, 30, 40,000 horsepower. They're big structures. They're not built everywhere. They're built in a few parts of the world. We would have to bring engine making back. So engine making would be one. Propeller shafts would be another. Propellers would be another. All of these things require specialty operations. Steel plate. Fortunately, the Trump administration has supported Nippon Steel taking over U.S. Steel, which means that we have a Japanese company with a lot of money that's going to inject money into steel making. But if you just think about all of the things I mentioned, each of those is going to be a different industry. It's going to need a different support system, and we're going to need to train a whole lot of new workers. So thousands of jobs, thousands of good paying jobs, but the infrastructure needs to be made. Now, we do have an agreement with Korea for them to make a major investment in the United States in shipbuilding. The estimate is that they could be making a $150 billion investment, but we haven't seen the dotted line and the details about how that's going to be made. Hanwha, a Korean company, recently bought Philly Shipyard in Philadelphia. They're going to make a $5 billion investment in Philly Shipyard in Philadelphia. That will help. Hyundai is making a joint venture with Edison Chuset in Tampa, Florida, to upgrade shipbuilding there, and they're going to be building container ships there too. So there are some really good examples of things going on, but this is a long-term problem with a lot of investment, and it's going to need a lot of government role to help make that happen. And at the moment, Nick, the problem is there's a lot of promise, but the devil is in the details. So tough, but some good news there.
Yeah, very good. And I think the last one we'll talk about, and last question I have for you is, because as you mentioned, China owns over 50% of the shipping market. What kind of impact would this have on the self-reliance of the United States owning these ships and having these ships, as well as potential national security, building these ports, having these ships? What kind of impact would that have on the United States in a positive and or negative way?
Well, you're making a very good point. During COVID, we had a problem with our agricultural exports not being able to get on ships because they were making so much money on the imports, they didn't want to take the exports. So having U.S. flag vessels is a good idea for trade. It is always good to have your own ships and your own flag. So that's a very good part of this. The second thing is military sea lift. In a national security emergency, we need to have American ships with American crews and an American flag. And if we can get them American built, that would be good too. It means that if we have a war, we have our own ships to rely on, and we don't have foreigners to do that. So there are some very good reasons for this. It is a good idea on the part of the Trump administration, but the challenge is making it happen. And that's going to require a role of the government, of the U.S. Maritime Administration, which is one of the chief governmental bodies that oversees this. But it is a good sign. We hope for the best, and we will see what happens. And with that, Nick, I want to thank you very much for your time on this. We'll be talking about some other issues as we go forward that relate to rebuilding the United States, but shipbuilding is definitely one of them. So I'm Stas Margaronis with Rebuild the United States. We're at RBTUS.com, and my co-host, Nick Conway, has been with me. Nick, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me, Stas.
Okay, talk to you soon.